Hey guys, Tommy Carrigan with Tommy Untamed. We've got a great show coming up. Thank you for watching. What's up, guys? Thank you for watching Tommy Untamed. We're going to take a quick break and give a shout out to the sponsors who support the show and make it possible. The world's smartest investors are not buying oil stocks. They're buying mailbox money or oil royalties instead. I'm talking about passive income that shows up month after month, starting with as little as $25. Visit CarriganOilBoom.com to discover how to tap into monthly royalty checks from America's most productive oil basin. You don't need to be wealthy or connected, you just need a regular brokerage account. That's CarriganOilBoom.com to learn how you could start collecting oil royalty checks every month. Heaven's Harvest Prepper Food, 72 servings per pail, 25 years shelf life. I've had the owner Clayton on the show before. He's a God-fearing, America-loving patriot. Get one of these, get a couple of them, throw them in your basement. It's good to have it, not need it, than to need it and not have it. If you don't want to do that, you can get their seeds. You can plant your own garden, so you don't even have to keep buying them. You can just get the goods and start your own, or you can even get freeze-dried fruits and vegetables like bananas, apples, strawberries, and raspberries. They support the show. It's an honest product. It's a good safety measure to have, and they keep my show free for you. So I'd implore you guys to please go to heavensharvest.com, use the link in the description, promo code TPC.
Higher ultraviolet exposure is associated with lower mortality. The United Kingdom is a high latitude and low sunlight country. Researchers there collected data on over 360,000 participants in a study of UV exposure via solarium use. When compared with non-users, solarium users had 15% risk lowered of all-cause mortality, 23% lower risk of cardiovascular mortality, 14% lower risk of cancer mortality, and a 12% lower risk of non-cardiovascular, non-cancer mortality. In other words, all other causes. Quoting the researchers, our study adds to the growing evidence that the benefits of UV exposure outweigh the risks in low sunlight environments. A link to the original publication is available in the box below the video. Get some UV light this winter. Immerse yourself in the tranquility of the blue. Visit a Blue Room soon. www.blueroom.com.
With Mr. Joe Housekeeping Oltmann, who just said he doesn't look good on camera, and I think that's a load of BS. I think you're beautiful. You and I both know you.
Face for radio. Face for radio.
No, face for GQ. That's what it is. And I don't care what Apollo whispers in your ear.
He does. He whispers bad things in my ear.
He'll never be beautiful. He'll never. He's a little demon, and you push him. You're Adonis, all right? And I won't hear anything otherwise. Anyone that disagrees should be worked to death in a labor camp. So, but because it's a shorter episode, Joseph Housekeeping Oltmann, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really, really good, actually. Really good.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, lots of stuff going on. Lots of things that we're kind of working on. We want to get Tina Peters out of jail. We've got things that President Trump is doing. You got the, Tom Homan kicking people out of the country like crazy. You got the Democrats at the State of the Union that just lied with impunity. Matter of fact, they lied so much that CNN put up all of these factual, rebuttals against President Trump. They had to issue a retraction because they came out and said, "We'll sue you," which I think is brilliant. I mean, finally, just sue them for lying. Just sue them all for just being liars. Works out. It works really well. I like it a lot.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, I'm not really surprised at their behavior at the State of the Union. I don't know why would it be any different. But to get right to it, about the deportations, it's 1,000 times better than anything we've had, and I'm certainly psyched for it. I'm psyched for the buttoned up border. It doesn't seem like it's going at a rate that's going to make a meaningful difference over the course of 2 years, because it's 2 years till midterms. And I know.
Well, hold on. You got to talk about Pete Sessions' deal as well. Jeff Sessions, Pete Sessions. Wow, I always get that wrong.
That was former AG under his first term.
No, it's Pete Sessions, Peter Sessions.
I don't know.
Congressman who Let me make sure I can find it here real quick. He's going to do the thing where Pete Sessions out of Texas introduced a bill called man, it's make elections safe again or something. Anyway, the concept behind it is that you get rid of mail-in ballots, you get rid of universal mail-in ballots. It doesn't go far enough, which is why I really, part of me has this consternation, like they're not listening. Get rid of universal mail-in ballots. Make sure you have to have an ID. Shorten the period of time by which you can vote. So doing some great things, but also at the same time, we're going to see some resistance from states that aren't going to follow the rules, and you're going to. I mean, it's all. He needs to file an emergency order, have the military come in and make sure the elections are safe and secure. Is what he needs to do, or order that the National Guard of each state stands in and makes sure that the elections that they're not using machines and so on and so forth. So, window dressing. I mean, I hope that it works. I hope what they're doing works. And actually, you know what? I just need to shut up. I just need to shut my mouth. I need to see what they do first, actually. I don't want to be the one that criticizes everything before they even get the first shot off, right?
Yeah, no,
And I'm sitting here saying, oh, no, I need to do more. And I'm thinking to myself, just shut up, Oltmann. Just keep your mouth, just your trap shut. Let's see what they got first.
that was me yesterday. I had on my buddy Baz, for Tier 1 guy. He runs ARC, the Association for the Recovery of Children. They've been rescuing kids since '93. And I was going off about the Epstein files and everything. And Baz is not someone to pull punches. And he was like, we're 5 weeks in. He's like, give it a minute. Just give it a minute. And I had to,
Yeah.
if Baz, I have to kind of check myself and be like, am I just, which I don't think it's bad to be constantly critical. I think that's how things get better. But there is also like a hold your horses and just give it a minute. So I'm kind of there with you, where I feel like my best tack is maybe to shut my mouth, which doesn't work well because I'm supposed to do the opposite for a living. But can you go into it more? Mesa, MES, make elections safe again. What, it's just no machines?
Yeah, so let me just see if I can pull
Yeah.
it up real quick here. Pete Sessions, bill on elections. Oh, you did? Oh, look at you. There you go. Yeah. So he introduced Make Elections Secure Act would eliminate voting machines and ensure hand-marked paper ballots, severely restricting mail-in voting. It would repeal the outdated Help America Vote Act, the HAVA Act, which, by the way, the HAVA Act of 2002 has never been followed. Among other things, would also almost entirely eliminate electronic voting machines and ensure each vote casts their ballot on a hand-marked paper ballot with a manual hand count. Manual, like hand count. Exceptions from machine use will be permitted for voters who require accessibility accommodations due to disabilities. It would also apply to primary elections, also restrict mail ballots to specific eligible voters with stringent verification process. As now these are outlined as active duty military stationed outside. So this is bringing into UACAVA voters. And then Mesa would also provide accountability to the public to ensure maximum transparency by providing public access to all election processes and comprehensive election data, including unscrambled ballot images and cast vote records within at least 5 days for officials to upload the data. So this is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal. Yeah. And this framework. So here's the thing that I get to, which is really interesting, is he talked about, hand-marked, hand-marked and hand-counted paper ballots, voter ID and citizenship requirements, shortened early voting, limited mail ballots. If you look at some of the things that were put in here, I built a white paper that almost entirely outlines this.
Yeah, I remember. I think the last time you were on here, we were talking about that.
Yeah. So you take credit for it. No problem.
I think it's all you. You're the man behind the curtain. Yeah, I don't see not only the political will, but I don't think there's going to be this kind of current environment, pressure system, whatever you want to call it, where the last election was stolen. It was 4 years of engineered collapse. He survives an assassination attempt, wins the election.
Three assassination
attempts, but the big one does all of that, gets in, landslide. I don't think we're going to have this It's just certain times you can just feel momentum coming. You can feel all the gears coming in at the same time, the planets
Yeah.
aligning. I
Yeah.
just don't think we're going to see this again. Not only because we might not get the chance, but it just might not be the perfect combination of events to where, I mean, it's surreal, right? I mean, first day in, the Marines are going to the southern border. Dissolves USAID, taking trannies out of the military. Like it is happening, and I think you have to strike now because
Yeah.
everything is so open and malleable right now. You're never gonna have this thing again where it's just like you can go in and make deep changes right now. And yeah,
They have to fire a quarter or more of the workforce in the federal government.
oh yeah, no, that goes without saying. Yeah,
And let me for everyone that's listening, there's a thing that also has to happen that nobody's talking about, and that is we have to doge every single state.
yeah.
I mean, the budgets are bloated by 40, 50, 60%. Let me just tell you the four things that have to happen, right? The four things that have to happen across the country in order to give people in this country the opportunities they deserve. And frankly, if this is done, if this is done, I promise you, we will see a lot of people go to prison, but it will be politicians, judges. Man, I hope 40% of the judges end up, frankly, being tried for treason. That's just my.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think a majority, over 50% of the judges in our country are absolutely garbage. They're henchmen for organized crime. That's all they are. That's all they represent. And and you can see it in their rulings. You can see it in some of the things they say and do. They're just terrible human beings. I have no respect for for the judiciary. None. I have zero respect for it. And the reason being is because they have proven themselves to do really bad things and act as the persecutors, and walk past law, walk past ethics, morals, the rule of law, in order to hurt people because they're being instructed to. So bad people. But if we do these four things, number one, we get rid of property tax in every state. Every state you should not have to rent your house from the government.
No.
You should not have to rent your home from the government. Period. End stop. There should never be a time that the house that you pay a mortgage on, that the government can swoop in, and they do it hundreds of thousands of times every year. They swoop in, sell the property for pennies on the dollar to collect their pound of flesh on property tax, kick out the person that is living in the home, and then that guy goes and sells it and makes 400 or 500 grand. And it's all a ruse because the courts are involved in it. And they're like, yeah, let's take it from them. They won't pay their property tax. So you're an institutional slave. You don't own a house. You don't own a car. Nothing that you have, you own. Nothing. The first thing is you got to get rid of property tax. There's no way we should have to pay property tax on anything. We shouldn't.
Correct.
Why do you pay tax on something you own? Tell me. Why? Why would you?
No, it's one of like the only bastions that you theoretically can have and should have is you can pay off the thing, and then that's your little fiefdom. You can be like, you know what? I don't have enough money for a Rolls Royce. I can't fly to Miami every weekend, but you know what? Paid off my cottage. I got enough. It's
It's
criminal
your
that you
home.
cannot do that. It's
You
unethical
can't.
that you cannot do that.
You're a slave. I mean, and
No,
that's
you
not
are.
even
You're a
it,
renter.
right?
You are a renter. You're a permanent renter.
You have absolutely no ownership. Oh, Alex Newman's calling me. I'll call him back. Hold on a second.
Yeah, no,
Alex,
good.
give me a minute. I'll call you back.
I think he was on here last week.
Okay, so
Yeah.
listen to me. No property tax. No tollways. Okay? No tollways. You want to charge a gas tax to pay for the roads? No problem. You have a gas tax, pays for the roads. And the argument that people, the radical lefticals and people that they're like, oh, well, they need money to do roads. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much money they waste? And do you know who owns most of the tollways? It's foreign private equity firms that are making 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,500% return. Wouldn't you like a 1,500% return?
I would love that.
So if you fix the roads and you have a budget for the roads and you have a strategic plan on how the roads stay safe, how you plug potholes, guess what? You don't have to charge tollways. That only goes into the coffers and the pockets of elitists and people in the bureaucracy. So no tollways. You shouldn't have to pay to run down the road. That's number 2. Number 3, cut out 60% of the education budget. Cut it out. Gone. At a state level. And you go, Joe, you cannot do that. 60% of the budget goes to administration. In some states, it's as high as 70%. The average cost of what is spent on a child is less than $3,200 a year. Jesus. On average. But you would say, Joe, 3,200, it can't be. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. So you have these big administrative buildings that they spend billions of dollars on for people to be out there and to bark orders down at the schools at a local level. Well, let me tell you what we've already proven. Okay? We've proven that homeschooling has a graduation rate that is, I don't even know, it's like 80 times or 90 times higher than the graduation rate in public schools. Homeschooling. And that their test scores are considerably higher than they are. And if we look at charter schools and schools that are underfunded by the education standards, or private schools that are like Catholic schools, what they've proven is that the quality of the education is not tied to someone in the Department of Education barking down that you need to groom, indoctrinate, talk about cutting off penises and doing all the other stuff that they have. It's quality education. Okay? So get rid of the administration inside of the deal. Go through and doge the government. Okay. So you have get rid of your tollways, get rid of property tax on your house, get rid of 60% of the education. Ready for the last one? Ready? And by the way, these are the 4 things you have to do after you chop out 30 to 40% of the bureaucracies at the state level. Mm-hmm. But let's just, the last thing is privatize pensions for government workers. They go bye-bye. You don't get a private pension. You don't get to work 20 years in one job, then go work at another state job for 3 more years and double your pension. So now you're getting paid $500,000 a year rather than, or $200,000 a year rather than $100,000 a year. And then you don't get to go work at another job for another 4 years. And now instead of making $100,000 at each job, you make $300,000 where you only made $100,000 to begin with. I just use that number out of thin air. No to privatized pensions. No, no, no. You can put money into a 401k just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. Stop making it so the government has entitlements, and some of the laziest, worst people out there go do those jobs. Nobody wants to do the job. You know, people that are ethical stay in the private sector. People that are corrupt, lazy, they go to the government sector. Evil government sector, chasing power, money, the ability not to do a whole lot. So if you want to right side up the ship in this country, you're gonna have to gut it. And by the way, if you want to really gut and change things at a state level, the next thing that you have to do, and I only got a couple more minutes. Next thing you have to do is you have to make sure that every judge does not have tenure. That education institutions do not have tenure. The ability for the people to impeach shall extend to judges inside of the jurisdiction of the state and or on the federal side. A federal judge should not be appointed for life ever. That standard needs to go away. And we need to make sure that if you make a bad call as a judge and it lands somebody in prison because you did something wrong, i.e. Matthew Barrett, what you did to Tina Peters, you're given a minimum sentence. You get to go to jail for 5 years yourself. You're charged with a felony. You're derobed and told to go sit in the corner for that 5 years. There should be consequences to our elected officials and unelected bureaucrats and these judges that are appointed for hurting Americans. See, right now we don't have parity, Tommy. We don't have parity. We don't have parity between the people and leadership. These leaders are treating us like institutional slaves. They're taking 50 cents 56, 57 cents on the dollar out of your pocket, you go pay taxes. Then you go over here after you paid taxes on it and you pay another tax on the tax money you already was taxed. You go to a restaurant, pay another tax, flying a plane, more taxes, go on a tollway, tax. We're taxed to death. By the time you're done with it, there's nothing left of the dollar.
And then when you're taxed to death and you give it to your kids, it's taxed again.
They tax it again. Tax it again.
Yeah.
The only way to escape that is with a trust. And I've been trying to teach all my friends, like, be the poorest guy you can ever be.
Yeah.
Be broke.
Yeah.
And then you know, I don't know. I'm beholden to a trust. Like, it pays me a little bit of money every month, but my job is to grow it so that, yeah, simple.
No, the only overarching plan, and I know I gotta let you run, but I know the only really overarching meta theme is you gotta go in with a flamethrower and just get rid of as much as you can. And you might say, well, it's gonna grow back in 50 years, probably, but right now, kick the can for 50 years. If you can get that done, if you can reduce it enormously, take the win and move forward. And I think that's what it is. Is just go in, be very, very gracious with the sledgehammer. And listen, if you destroy something that you shouldn't have, put it back.
I was going to run for governor of Colorado.
Still think you should.
I keep going back and forth, and I keep praying about it.
Do it.
But here's the thing. My affinity is not towards the wealthy. My affinity is towards my poorer brothers and sisters, people that are most in need. I've spent all of my life helping that group of people, all of it. And so the things that I just talked about, they don't favor the wealthy. And all the people that are that are Democrats I call them lefticals. You know why I call them lefticals?
I heard you say that earlier.
Because they got no testicles.
No, I like that. I heard you say leftical. I made a note of it.
Barons.
That wasn't lost on me. I put it away in a drawer.
So my point is that we have tried so many times to say, oh, we're going to make it better. These politicians, man, they're full of shit. Yeah, no. They're not making anything better. They're making anything better. And they don't want to make it better. They want confusion and chaos. They want your brothers and sisters to go to prison, school to prison pipeline. They go over here to the judge and they're like, hey, get me paid. That's why the judges are invested in the privatized prison system. And that's why that's not an institution or a part of the institution, is because they want to be able to make money on it. That's why it's 25 cents to send a text message into a tablet for a prisoner. And you say, Joe, they're all guilty. Yeah, Tina Peters is not guilty. And by the way, I've met many men that were put in prison for 7, 8, 9, 10 years for something they didn't even do.
Yeah. No, it needs to, maybe the silver lining is I just finished a book last week by Walter Isaacson about Elon Musk. And
Walter Isaacson wrote it.
I believe that's his name.
Walter wrote one about Steve
Jobs.
Too.
Yeah, I just read that one too.
It's an amazing book.
Yeah. No, I finished that one after. I actually got the Steve Jobs ones because I enjoyed the Elon one. But there's one thing that Elon keeps saying in terms of reducing either rocket size or bureaucracy at Twitter or Tesla or whatever. Going back his whole PayPal, Zip2, all these things, he would always say, if you don't have to go back after a series of cuts and restore 20% of it, then you didn't cut hard enough. Because if you only cut things that needed to go, then that means you've left things on the table. He goes, you should go in and liquidate so hard that a month later you go, shit, we probably need to put that back. Because that means you got everything and then some. You amputate the leg, you're also getting a little of the good tissue, but that means you did the right job.
I walked back in my company after being gone for nearly 4 years, 3 years, 3 years and 3 months. Yeah. Right. And I was like, you guys suck. They had people that show up at work at 10 o'clock in the morning, leave by 3 or 4. Clients that would call me and be like, man, Joe, things are bad. I'm like, yeah, they sound bad. So when I walked in, I just fired everybody.
Good.
I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Orbital napalm.
Huh?
I said orbital napalm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something.
Works.
I fired 29 people in the first 60 days.
Yeah.
I fired so many people that everyone came to work saying, I wonder if they're going to fire me next.
Yeah.
And then you know what I did? I fired 11 more.
Yeah. And then if you find you're missing someone, you go back and get them.
And I had people that quit. I had guys that were with me for 7, 8, 9 years, resigned. Can't believe you're doing this. I was like, I can't believe that you think how I ran the company back in 2020 that I would allow you to try to run the company like this in 2024. Have you lost your mind? Let me just tell you what's about to happen. I think that you probably need to go on and you need to grow. You need to go find it and grow. And by the way, I'm still friends with, I don't know, a handful of the people that left. Some I'm not.
Sure.
Some I shot out a rocket so fast. I don't even think I saw them leave the building.
I thought you were just gonna say some of them I shot. I'm like, well, that's I don't know if you want to admit that on camera. Some of them I shot. I went in with a Bushmaster.
Apollo will tell you. He will tell you. I have patience until I don't.
Yeah.
Right. And so but what I say now, I'm going to have our meeting. We have our meeting on Mondays. I'm like, listen, make sure that you're important to what we do. Make sure that your job's getting done. And what it's done is it's actually allowed us to have more clarity, more, we still have the cut conversation. You know what happened to revenue? It went up by 300%. You know what happened to revenue for one of the, on the retail side with guns? It went up by 60%.
Yeah.
Why? Because now guess what? You have to pay attention. You have to take care of people. And if that customer gets to me and you didn't take care of him, I'll just take that as your resignation.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah. No, less people, less cooks in the kitchen. I got to let you run. I don't want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, I got to go straight on the other show. So
right,
yeah,
well,
I got my friend James in here. I got a whistleblower we're going to be talking to.
You're good, but you do have an obligation because we've ended every show with a prayer, and my mom has come to really enjoy them when I have you on. So I'd like for you to wrap this up with a prayer. It can be short. We can wrap it up, but we got to.
What's your mom's name?
I'm going to say my mom's name on the show.
Why not?
Privacy.
Get the hell out of here. Are you serious?
Yeah, you can say, well, call her Miss Tommy.
Miss Tommy?
You can call her Miss Tommy.
Miss Tommy.
I never stream when my parents are here. My brothers visit. No, I put myself out because I'm a stupid monkey that entertains for a living. None of my family out.
Just tell you how it works. Somebody comes from
Her
Mama.
name is Apollo.
Somebody comes from Mama. You make sure that you come for them.
Oh, I know.
Right?
No, she carries a 357. It's all good. It's all good.
Your mom's like, let him come. They better make peace with God.
My dad's more violent than anyone. No, I'm not. It's for them. It's not for my parents.
Miss Tommy. All right, let's pray. Father God, thank you. Thank you for Tommy. Thank you for just his dedication to not only the message, but just working the problem and reaching people with a message of not just hope, but of determination that we will get through these symptoms that we face every day of evil that has just consumed our country and consumed our society. Father, I'll first start off by saying that a special blessing over Mrs. Tommy for having to put up with Tommy, and for her raising a man such as Tommy to get in this fight. I would ask you, Father, to man, it just hit me. I'm going to say another prayer, Father, on the cash we're getting ready to get on, but Father, I would ask you to bless those people that are listening, that you would give them calmness that may come over them, but a preparation for what will come next. I would ask you to heal, Father, those that are sick. And I don't even have the right to ask for that a prayer, but I have one person that, he called me this morning. You already know this. And he said, Joe, I think I have, actually, they told me I have Parkinson's disease. So, Father, I would just ask you to heal him. Father, we're grateful for the time that you give us here, for the journey you put us on. We're grateful for the talents that you bestow upon us. We're even more grateful for the people that you put in our lives that we're able to build a relationship with as we are on this journey, as we're in this test of life. So, Father, I just ask that you walk with us and give us the courage and the commitment to stand together. I say these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, brother. It was beautiful. And I'll pray for your buddy as well.
Rob, good dude.
Yes, sir. We'll pray for him.
All right.
And as always, dude, love talking to you. It's always It's always fun. And yeah, I'll pray for him. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Yes, sir.